Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we are going to have a little chat about Codexes, because there is something that I would like Games Workshop to do on their Warhammer Preview Online Codex show this Saturday. So this is kind of old news now. When did this even, like a few days ago? I'm still a bit sick, as you can probably tell. I apologise if this video has been cut to shreds in editing to get rid of all the sneezes and horrendous gurgling noises that I currently make. But it's fine, you won't hear them, provided I remember to edit them out, and if I don't, then rip headphone users. So, I'm not making it up, not lying. Warhammer Preview Online, I still think they should call it the Warhammer Online Preview, but never mind. Want to learn more about what you can look forward to in the new Warhammer 40k Codexes? Set a reminder for this Saturday to catch your first solid look at the new Space Marines and Necron books, find out what's happening next, and witness a few more miniatures reveals for good measure. It'll probably be a very few miniatures reveals, but the Codexes at least should be interesting. So, that's it really. That's the whole thing. Yeah, as always, we'll be covering the highlights on the Warhammer community site, but if you want to watch the actual stream, it's there. Nice selection of time zones for you there. If your time zone isn't on there, you're going to have to look it up, because I do not know what time zone you live in. That's not how this works. So, this has got me thinking, because there is something that I would like them to announce on this that I really don't think they will. And it's kind of born of the idea of getting rid of disappointment early. Because when it comes to the release of new codexes, especially at the launch of a new edition, there can be a very frustrating and kind of mood-killing aspect to things. So, obviously when 8th dropped, all the old codexes were scrapped, and we had the indexes instead. And then we slowly moved from indexes until everyone had their codex released. Now, when it comes to new codex releases, there's always an ongoing cycle, there's always new codexes being made, and we don't really have an idea as to what is happening when, unless there's either a leak, or someone looks up some sort of shipping manifest and goes, oh look, there's a new Blood Angels codex on the way, or whatever. Now, although that's going to be unlikely this time around, because didn't they say that those are all folding into the main one? Anyway, so something that is very likely to happen is that they'll show off the Space Marines and Necrons codexes, and then they will go, okay, and the next codex to be released will be this one, which is great for the faction that, that are getting that codex. It's great for the players who play that faction. They can look at it and go, yes, awesome, my codex is going to be next up after these two, that's class. Everyone else, of course, has no idea when their codex is coming out. They just have to wait. They don't know what's happening, they don't know when it's happening. Now, Games Workshop, they have a roadmap. They know what they're writing and when they're writing it. They know when release dates are. It's not like they just go, what do we fancy releasing tomorrow? Like, this stuff is years in advance they're deciding on these things and working on them. Now, there are the occasional last-second changes, things like the Space Wolves Codex that they changed to, like, what was it? Was it the Saga system in the Space Wolves Codex, where the Codex has already gone to print, and they were like, oh yeah, we changed this, here's a PDF. That's rough. That's not good. That's really not good. In fact, I remember complaining vocally and at length about that at the time. But for the most part, they have a roadmap, they have a plan, they know what's coming and when it's coming. I think they should share that when it comes to codexes. Not when it comes to models, necessarily. I understand the need to keep things like models under wraps. There is a huge the whole hype side of things when it comes to their marketing, especially around new miniatures, because, they're a miniatures company. That is a massive part of things for them. But the codexes, I think there is more to be gained by just outright saying what order they're going to be released in, because it gets rid of the disappointment factor straight away. Now, of course, it means that there aren't people every single time a codex is announced going, is it mine? Is it mine? Fingers crossed, it's for my army. Oh, it's not for my army, that sucks. Okay, well, maybe it's the next one. It gets rid of that. It gets rid of people getting excited for the idea that it could be their faction who is next in the limelight. But the flip side of that is that it means that every time a new codex is released and it is not, or announced, and it's not that player's faction, that player just ends up getting disappointed. And they don't get disappointed once, they get disappointed over and over and over and over again. And it leads to sourness and discontent and a lack of satisfaction with the way things are marketed and with the way things are paced and timed. Understandably so, because if you're sitting there, like, you know, week on week or month on month, waiting for your codex to be announced, and every single time you think it's going to be announced, it's not, there's only so much that the kind of hype attitude and the hopeful attitude can take before you just get to the point of going, well, I just don't care now. I don't care what Codex is released because it's not mine. It's never mine. I have to wait until the very end of the run because I play Tyranids. That's not great. There is something to be said for, like, ripping the the plaster. If you're in the UK, ripping off the plaster, what do you Americans call it? What do you call it? Band-Aid. Band-Aid, that's it. Which I think is a brand name, isn't it? I think a plaster is generic and a Band-Aid is brand name. I don't know how language works. And, yeah, it's the thing of, well, it sucks, but I know it sucks now. I don't have to wait, you know, weeks and weeks to find out it sucks over and over again. Instead, I just know. It's like, okay, here we go. Space Marines and Necrons first. Then here's the list. Here's the roadmap. Here is when the Codexes are going to be released, roughly. I'm not going to give exact dates, but this is the order. That way you can look at it and you can go, oh, my favourite army's last. That's garbage, but at least I know. At least I'm not going to spend the next however long going, is it me? No, it's not me. Is it me? No, it's not me. Okay, this time it's gotta be me. No, it's not me again. It gets rid of that. It gets rid of that recurring disappointment, that recurring irritation, and instead it means that that person knows and is not going to get frustrated over and over again. Because let's be honest, very few things kill for, like, enjoyment and enthusiasm for something than being disappointed by the same outcome over and over. You can't maintain someone's enthusiasm for a new thing if that new thing is constantly held slightly out of reach. Good example of this is the October stuff. Like, the idea behind the October stuff was good. You know, build up some hype for some new models, give orcs their own month, dangle the treat a bit. The problem is that the treats were dangled for far too long, and they were also not the treats that people necessarily wanted. Codex stuff is exactly like that. It is dangling a treat, no one knows what the treat is, and then when the treat's revealed, a significant number of people didn't want that treat to begin with. You can't do that over and over. You need to give some sort of indication as to stability. And that's not even going into the idea that if you know when your Codex is coming, it gives you some slight opportunity to plan out what you're going to do. Now, of course, that is a bit that's a bit anti what Games Workshop want. They want you to just buy new models regardless of when your Codex is coming out. They don't want you going, well, I'm not gonna buy this army currently because the Codex isn't out for a bit, because that could reduce sales. The thing is, I think it's fair to say that a good number of people at this point don't have one army. They have multiple armies, and the allure of new miniatures quite often has very little to do with what army you play. The number of people I know who are like, well, I don't even have that force, but I'm still buying that model because look at it. It's great. I may do that myself regularly, stupidly. I just feel like it would be better for everyone, really. Maybe not better for Games Workshop necessarily, but better for the consumer, for the fan, for the community, to just know what's happening in advance so that they don't end up getting pissed off every other week. I don't think they'll do that, but that's what I'd like them to do, and it'd be borderline miraculous if they did, but I would also wholeheartedly approve. What I want to know is, what do you think of that idea? Would you prefer to just know straight off the bat what order it is, a rough timescale so you didn't have that experience of getting disappointed over and over? Would you prefer that over the kind of the hype, and then the inevitable disappointment that follows that when it's not the thing you want? I feel like most people would. But then again, I might be wrong. So let me know in the comments. Now, before we finish off the video, this week's shout out goes to Hellstorm Wargaming. If you like battle reports that are funny, informative, and well produced with a good variety of armies and hosted by a lovely man named Mikey, then go over to Hellstorm Wargaming. There will be a link in the description, and there should be a little box thingy up here somewhere that you can click to take you over there. He's a lovely guy. Hellstorm is a really good channel. I suggest you check it out if you would like. Now, I apologise for inflicting my terrible cold voice on you. I hope the video is not too unbearable despite it. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to click all the things. Patreon video, if you could subscribe, that would be lovely, but it's entirely up to you. And of course, there is an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.